Ready to go.
You and me, a dream team.
Very good choice, my friend. Let's go for the title defense.
Three winners and 8 different drivers on the podium. That's the DTM season 2013. Welcome to the 4th round here today at the Lausitzring, and with me is Mercedes driver Gary Paffett. Gary, good to see you again and back into the front because qualifying yesterday, for sure, from the past we're used that Mercedes is good at the Lausitzring, but yesterday was some kind of a rebirth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I enjoy driving here, and we've had success here in the past, but last year, you know, we weren't dominant. We were good, but we weren't dominant. But yesterday was incredible. I mean, we've struggled as a team with the car in qualifying this year so far, and we haven't been very strong, but we've been improving the car, and yesterday was incredible. I mean, you know, we were dominant yesterday. The speed we had, we were a good, probably at best half a second quicker than the Audis and BMWs. So the Mercedes working really well. The drivers did a great job yesterday to get 3 in the top 4. So it was, yeah, different fortunes to the rest of the year so far.
And that was really impressive yesterday, and you know how to win here, so I'll bet my money on you today.
Yeah, I've won here before, and it's a tough race here. It's always quite warm like it is today, and with the option tyres that we haven't run yet and the DRS, it's going to be interesting. It's not over for sure. You know, there's still a lot of work to do, but we're in the best position. You know, unlike the other races, it's in our hands today, so hopefully we can take the win. Yeah.
For sure, it will be an exciting race. Thanks, Gary. And I hand over to our great experts. It's Andrew and Dave. Have fun today.
Thanks very much indeed. Yes, Gary won here in 05 and 09. We're going to check out the track here. And the very first thing to say is counterclockwise. It is not the normal direction. And it is, of course, based on the famous 2-mile tri-oval here, but we don't use all the tri-oval. And this is the first place we go off the tri-oval, a very difficult second gear corner. In fact, there's 5 or 6 second gear corners here at the Lausitzring. We wiggle left and right and left until we come back onto the triangle, having shortcut turn 1. We then run on the triangle, just on the tri-oval a little way, and then pull off again to the left in the second gear corner, right down to 50 miles an hour, just coming into that right now. Again, back into the infield, and a long right-hander taken in 3rd gear, probably around 97, 98 miles an hour. And then the second fastest part of the circuit here, down into another second gear corner, right down the gearbox to second gear again, 95 miles an hour. Circuit then just goes through a fast right-hander, around 100 miles an hour again, down to another second gear corner. Again, around 50 kilometers an hour, a little short burst, and then another left-hander, virtually a hairpin, which brings the cars back onto the tri-oval at turn 3. And this is now the fastest part of the circuit. They'll be using DRS down here, and probably worth 7 or 8 miles an hour as they cross the finish line. And that is a lap of the circuit. So that is the circuit. Interesting race coming up. Mercedes looking good, but we can find out more from Eve.
I'm here at the BMW Hospitality together with Timo Glock. Timo, good to see you again. And let's talk a little bit about the qualifying yesterday. What happened?
Yeah, I just came out of the pits, and Daniel Yucatea came on a flying lap, and you know, they told me the track is clear, and turned into turn 2, and then I looked in the mirror and I saw this white and red Mercedes pretty clear in my mirror, and yeah, I just just blocked him a bit, and they put me back at the end 3 places. So totally right, the decision by the stewards and the mistake by us. So now we need to start a bit further back and try to get it right in the race.
But for sure, you love to remember 2 weeks ago, your fabulous race at the Red Bull Ring. You finished on podium. Someone counted, I have to mention it, 1,344 days after your last podium. How does it feel? This must be a great motivation for this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we showed that we had a good pace in the race in Austria, but I think today it can be a bit of a more of a struggle to go into the points even, because the car balance was not that great, and the car is still tricky to drive, especially over the bumps here.
But perhaps you think positive, because remembering Dirk Werner, he started at Hockenheim at P20, finished second, so everything is open for today.
Is still, the possibility is there, but I have my doubts a bit in terms of, as I said, in terms of the car behavior. I think we are not in perfect shape here, but you never know.
For sure, we're going to see a lot of action here for the 4th round at the Lausitzring. So keep in touch, and here we come with the race.
Thanks very much, Even Glock, one of the few men to score a World Championship point on his first ever Formula One outing. So there is the pole position man, first ever, Christian Vittoris, with Gary Proffitt alongside him. We're showing the option tyres here, Jamie Green and Rob Wickens. Rob in the top 4 for the second time this season. And then it's Bruno Spengler on the pole for the previous 2 years here, and Mike Rockenfeller currently second in the championship after that early season win. Adrian Tambay and Edo Matara, 2 of the younger guys there in 7th and 8th places. And then Roberto Merri and Pascal Wehrlein just showing the strength on Mercedes here. Behind them, Dirk Werner in the BMW for the Schnitzer team, and Felipe Albuquerque. Schnitzer team seem the only one that really got their BMW half decent here. Then it's Juncadella and Molina in 13th and 14th places. Behind them, Farfus, who obviously has been fast and a winner this season, and Timo Scheider, a former champion. And then Timo Glock we just heard from, and Ekstrom, a double winner here in the past. Then Marco Wittmann and Joey Hand. These 4 BMWs all got a penalty of 5 positions, but it didn't make any difference. But we can go down to Eve. She's with the pole position sitter, and it's Christian Vittoris for the first time.
Christian, it's your personal best result for the qualifying year at pole position. How is your feeling? Will we see your breakthrough today in DTM?
Well, obviously it's a very nice starting position. It's my best qualifying result so far. A nice view, clean track in front of me, so I hope that I can use it at the start, stay in front, and then hopefully we can have a good race.
Enjoy your first pole position and the race today. Back to you guys. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Eve. That was short and sweet. So Vittoris, Proffitt, Green and Wickens, 3 of them on the options on the front 2 rows, Dave, but Wickens going on the standard tyre, as we see Wehrlein climbing into the car in the livery of the Stuttgart football team, which has been going since 1893 or something like that.
Yes. So Pascal Wehrlein then getting in to his car, then getting belted up, ready to go, racing this DTM race here at the Lausitzring, just minutes away. Weather conditions, well, it's quite warm and humid, to be honest with you, as we look at Roberto Merri there in the Thomas Sabo Mercedes car. Merri ready to get underway.
Yeah, just getting a little hydrated. Roberto Merri.
And their 5th row on the grid for Roberto Merri, Andrew.
Yeah. But it will be intriguing, Dave, to see what happens with the options. They have run them here in testing, but never under race conditions. And in a much colder day, there's Matara, just seeing him, looking for a good result here. And of course the DRS, they haven't tried the DRS here at all, and we think it's going to be the longest DRS zone any DTM race of the season, even longer than Hockenheim, we think. So everyone getting ready for the start of round 4 of the DTM. So a great shot of the tri-oval there. It's just a mini version of the Pocono track. has built it in the States. This is 2 miles round. Of course, they haven't used this oval for a long time. They used it in 2001 and 2003 for champ car races. I don't think they've run on the full oval since, but a very busy racetrack here, as again we see Vittoris, Paffett, Green on the options, probably worth about 1.3 seconds a lap. Wickens opting to go on the regular race rubber, and further down the field only a few people opting for the yellow walled sticky option tyre. So it'll be interesting to see what that does to them.
You mentioned the potential of 1.3, maybe 1.2 seconds, but of course you've got to balance that with the durability of the tyre as well.
Absolutely, yes, that's right. If you push it right to the edge of its envelope, then they'll go off quite quickly. But otherwise, those tyres can last a long time and give some kind of advantage over the standard tyres. Adrian Tambay then, very good qualifying for the young Frenchman in 7th place in the Audi ultra lightweight technology, and of course we'll see lightweight technology in a week's time at Le Mans. Obviously a lot of Audi's focus on that. Mike Rockenfeller then, the best Audi runner this year. Just to remind you all, it's been 2 BMW wins, 1 Rockenfeller win and no Mercedes wins, but we can go to Audi with Dieter Gass, head of DTM.
Exactly, Dieter, we are right in front of the car of Jamie Green. Did he arrive now in the Audi family with his great position here?
Yes, I think he did. I mean, finally he had a normal race weekend, and he showed us yesterday in the qualifying what he's able to do if he has a normal race weekend and everything goes to plan. So I hope he can build up on it and maybe get a little bit more further forward.
We'll see what's going on with the 4 Audis in the top 8. And it's also Jens Marquardt with me, having a BMW with Bruno Spangler at the back. You said at Hockenheim that we won't see any favorite for the 9 races of the season. So until the end of the season, who's your favorite today?
Well, it's pretty obvious that who starts up front is the direct favorite. But I think we have 52 laps to go. And for sure, we will all do our best to not make it a boring one. And I was hoping for rain, that didn't come. Now I hope for hot sun, so that the option tire has a real hard life and we see some proper strategies.
We're looking for a lot of action. Back to you guys.
Yeah, let's not forget that BMW scored their first win since returning to the DTM here. Here's the championship positions with Spengler on 53, Rockenfeller on 41 and Farfus on 33. Whitman on the 32 with Vittoris on 25, the pole sitter. Then it's Werner, Paffett on 22. We'd like to add to that today. Ekstrom 16, Hand 16, Wickens 15 and Glock on 15 points. That's the top 11 in the championship. So BMW, and there's Ralf Schumacher. BMW seemingly having problems, other than the 2 Schnitzer cars in the middle of the grid. The rest of the BMWs all near the back. They obviously got something wrong with the setup. They did take 4 of the cars out of Parc Fermé early yesterday. They knew they'd get a penalty, but it didn't make any difference to them. No. So they've been doing some hard work. Maybe they've gone a bit radical to change the setup. And let's see what happens if BMW found some speed since yesterday. There is Gary Paffett. Although he's not on the pole, he was the fastest through most of qualifying, particularly in the Q3, where I think he was 0.4 of a second faster than anybody else. And if you're used to the DTM, you know that that's a big margin in quali. So we're talking to Gary at breakfast, seemed very relaxed, and he's got a new app on his phone, Dave, where he films himself having his breakfast, which all sort of disappears. Check it out. Apparently he's not the first driver to do that. Yeah, it's quite an extraordinary app. You just see his breakfast disappearing.
Okay.
And, Gary thinks it's absolutely marvellous. Apparently found out that Alonso had done it last week.
Okay, well, you're right. I mean,
Gary's breakfast is much better than Alonso's, by the way. Breakfast of champions.
Spoke to Gary not only this morning but last night as well, and buoyed by the success that they've had in qualifying, no doubt about it, because they've not been in a good place so far this season, have they? So Gary really wants to get his championship trail back on track, and this very much, Andrew, could be the place for him to start that charge.
Indeed. Remember, he had penalty in the last race, which was a 2-second stop and go, but it basically cost him more because he then had to stop at his pit, and then he had a penalty at Brands Hatch for not going slow enough under the yellow. But it was a really strange situation, very unfair penalty, I thought. And then at the first race he got beaten up a little bit by a number of BMWs in using some questionable tactics, we have to say. So I think Paffett is my favourite. Yves has picked him. I picked him. What about you, Dave?
Well, yes, I think so too. Although I would like either Christian Vittoris or Robert Wickens to really show good from their fantastic qualifying pace yesterday. They've put themselves in fantastic positions, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I think I've been really impressed with Rob Wickens, Andrew.
Absolutely. You know, he's got that third place at Brands Hatch,
Yeah.
you know, after Gary got put back and had him running down the pit lane to the podium.
But then a lot can happen. Strategies will come into play. As you say, DRS is going to be used here. They've not used it here before. You know, the option tyres, we know they're worth up to perhaps 1.2, but that's very much compromised by their durability, you know, if you want to make those tyres last. So there's a lot to play.
And we're going to see how quickly Wickens goes back, running on their standard tyres, or as he dives in and puts the options on very quickly, as we've seen earlier in the season with some people, just going through the grid down here. And those 4 BMWs at the back, and Matty Ekstrom really struggling in 18th place, and Timo Scheider to another former champion for Audi. And we saw Timo Glock, of course, put back those 3 places, and he explained all that in the interview that he...
We've seen a bit this year, haven't we, of the running order has been very, very unsettled, Andrew, both in terms of cars and drivers.
Yes, that's correct. BMW flags fly. That main grandstand holds some 20,000 people at this incredible facility here. We are about an hour and a half down the road from Berlin. There's James Marquardt. Since he's taken over at BMW, what an incredible season they've had, a season and a half they've had. And there, the track where the intermediate points, we'll be bringing you the splits and watching those.
Now, we could see this lap record broken here, couldn't we?
Almost certainly we will. Yep. It's stood since 2008 when Paul de Resta won. He's not the only Grand Prix driver to have won here. He was obviously in the DTM before he went into Formula One, and a man going the other direction, Mika Häkkinen, he's had a win here as well. Toto Wolff not here at Mercedes this weekend, having a weekend off, well deserved, but seems to be very popular. There is Dr. Ulrich be jumping in his car and heading straight to Le Mans from here. Hans-Jürgen Abt, who runs the DTM Abt squad, that's most of the Audi cars. And air temperature just under 23 degrees, track temperature 30, a little bit of wind, not much. And tensions rise here. The start so important already. 2 lights are lit up, 3 are lit up, 4, it's 5. Extinguish and a launch. And a brilliant start from Paffett. I think Paffett might have the inside line. Watch for Paffett down at this very tight second gear corner. And Wickens went backwards a little bit, I think. And Jamie Green's right in there. And we just see Rocky in about 6th place. And round goes BMW. And that will be collected up in just a moment.
So also having an off there was Pascal Wehrlein in the Stuttgart liveried car. But what a start then from Gary Paffett, Vitoris P2, Jamie Green P3. As the cars dive back off the tri-oval and onto the infield section of this circuit as Gary Paffett makes haste his escape right at the front of the pack.
Yeah, I think it was Werner who rotated there. And yeah, Paffett's got a great start. This is just what he needed.
Look at Spengler trying hard though. It's Spengler and Jamie Green P3 and P4 there with Rob Wickens, who sadly has gone backwards. He's down to P5. We go on board with Bruno Spengler then chasing the Audi in front of him. That Audi being driven by Jamie Green there. We're on the first lap of the 52 laps of this DTM charge around the Lausitzring.
Yeah, Spengler, of course, had 2 wins here, had that momentous victory for BMW there first a year ago, and it looks as if he's got a pretty good setup with the Schnitzer prepared BMW. And Wickens, of course, on the regular tyres going backwards a little bit. Paffett with a 1.1 second lead as they cross the line for the first time.
Wehrlein having a go a little bit further down the order here. Is Wehrlein going to be able to take the inside line? Yes, he is.
Yeah, Wehrlein, good move by the young man. Still works at his father's garage in the week. And Timo Scheider just behind him. Paffett, Vitoris, Green, Spengler. Wickens still in 5th place at the moment. And not on the softer option tyre, so he'll be reasonably happy with that. Rockenfeller is in 6th place.
So Matty Ekstrom battling hard here with, we saw there with Marco Wittmann. There is our race leader, Gary Paffett, in the Euronics liveried Mercedes. Then it's Christian Vitoris being hounded now by Jamie Green, Andrew.
Yeah, Green looking racy there. Had a little look down the inside. There wasn't enough space. This very tricky infield section here. What an unusual racetrack this is. basically this section just shortcuts the first corner, and then they come out onto the tri-oval there. Sometimes they go very close to that barrier, the one there with the arrow sign on it. There you see about a foot away. Sometimes it'll be inches, but look at Gary. He's increased his lead to 1.8 seconds. And the man originally from Bromley lives up in the East Anglian countryside now, with his big family of boys. Mortara going well. Tomczyk, what about Andy Prio?
Yeah, he's done all right. P15, I think.
Prio's moved up to P15, yep.
On board with Bruno Spengler then as he continues to chase down the hard-charging Audi then of Jamie Green, which is in P3 at the moment. There's Mike Rockenfeller, P6 going through there. And again, Pascal Wehrlein really is looking racy, Andrew, as he gets past Mortara.
Yeah, Wehrlein goes through. He is on the options. And Mortara isn't, so that's probably got something to do with that.
No question. So on board with Edo Mortara, who's now got the Pascal Wehrlein Mercedes in front of him now. Early stages of this DTM race here at the Lausitzring. Race being led by Gary Paffett, then it's Christian Vitoris. Here's a replay of the start, Andrew.
Yeah, well, they all Constantine are up there, but only a little bit of incident. Try and see what happened for Werner at the back. And
there we can see Werner being rotated. Luckily, no one collected him. I thought Farfus might run into him there, but didn't. Some sharp work there from all these drivers, including Timo Glock, who we're on board with.
Timo had to just avoid Werner in the BMW. Werner, of course, in the other of the Schnitzer Tune cars. And there's that Stuttgart football team livery, red and white livery. Of course, Wehrlein comes from a little village not far from Stuttgart, supports the team. And Mercedes support the team as well. They play in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So on board then with Wehrlein. And
this was him taking that inside line, wasn't it, past Scheider. Here is our race leader, Andrew, and he's getting away at the front here, isn't he, is Gary Paffett.
118.646 for Paffett.
So there we see P2, Christian Vitoris. P3 is Jamie Green then in the Audi. His best showing since he's moved to the Audi team for Jamie Green. Had a good qualifying and was buoyed, and his confidence will be sky high after that better quali. And as Yves said in our pre-race introductions, you know, he's finally arrived in the Audi family.
Yeah, just to emphasise that 118.646 for Gary is a new DTM lap record. It's broken Paul's long-standing record.
And here come the early divers, Andrew.
Yeah, all the early divers, yes. All the boys that were on the regular tyres. It's about 8 of them all coming together. Just as the pit window opens.
So there we can see Robert Wickens.
And that looked like a quick stop to me. There's Rocky.
So Wickens out, Rocky out again.
Yeah.
Tombe.
Pretty well everyone, I think, that was.
I think you're right.
On the options, sorry, put the teeth back in. On the regular tyre, or the prime as they call it in Formula One, stopped.
So we've seen Ian Wickens, Rockenfeller, Tombe, Mortara, Junkadella, and Tomczyk all been in. There is Bruno Spengler continuing to hound down Jamie Green at the moment. Jamie Green is P3, Bruno Spengler is P4. Reminder to you that Paffett leads this race by some 2.4 seconds over Christian Vitoris in P2. We're on lap 4 of 52.
Merry there is shown on the regular tyres. He started on the softer tyres. Did he make a stop? Maybe that could be a mistake. I think that's a mistake maybe from our graphic there. I think Merry is on the softs. Look at that. Stampede down the pit lane then. So did Merry. Looks as if Merry just coming in now. Always busy down there, isn't it?
So Merry done and dusted and out. Here comes Joey Hand now at Spielberg. Joey Hand, a wheel came off following a pit stop. Don't want that, a repeat of that. It's busy in that pit lane, Andrew, as you say.
Is Ekstrom, another one who was just in the pits then.
So feeding back out then. And onto the track, Ekstrom at the back of that pack.
Well, we said that Andy Prio had made a good move, and he's got a drive-through penalty for a jump start. It just goes from bad to worse, Andy, doesn't it?
Yeah. So we're on board with Matty Ekstrom then. Hear him going through the gearbox there.
So Paffett with a 2.5 second lead now over Vitoris, and then Green, and then Spengler, Wehrlein, Whitman, and then Merry. So in fact, Merry's just dropped from his pit stop down to 15th place.
So we're back on board with Matty Ekstrom then. This pack with Timo Scheider and Albuquerque in there. And Matty Ekstrom is at the back of that at the moment. Absolutely pushing this as we see Timo Glock now in the all-yellow Deutsche Post colours on Timo Glock's car. Another seemingly good pit stop, 3.2 seconds.
As far as I could see then, Glock was on the regular tyre as he accelerated out.
So there is Glock back out on track then in front of Joey Hand.
Well, I don't understand some of these strategies. Glock was on the options and only ran on them 5 laps or so and came in. Maybe he's going to put them on at the end of the race.
That's possible.
It's a possible strategy. They can use that set of options. Or maybe he did start on the standard.
Well, I'm just looking at my sheet.
Look at the
3-4-5 then, and we're on board with Bruno Spengler now. So Spengler it is that we travel with around this Lausitzring circuit.
And now we're
leading the championship points, of course.
See how bumpy it is down there, David.
Yep. Rob Wickens then making good as he gets past Werner, and there's Rockenfeller doing the same. Problem there, I would have said. There's Dirk Werner then in that number 2 BMW. Well, Rob Wickens and Mike Rockenfeller just gone past him with absolute ease.
Paffett's now dropped back into the 19s, 1:19.039 his last lap. I just wonder in this relative temperature if those options are dropping off quite quickly.
Well, and of course, you know, he's pushed them from the off, hasn't he?
Yeah.
To build up that cushion at the front. So, you know, he's pushing them as hard as he possibly can. So there is Mike Rockenfeller then. P10 at the moment with Rob Wickens then in.
See, Rocky is the fastest man out there at the moment. Yeah, 18.2s. He's. So let's see what that does for us. They are.
So their confirmation.
What's the DRS systems working? Gary, of course, hasn't got any advantage from it because he hasn't got anybody 2 seconds in front of him, so he can't use it.
That's the margin. You've got to be within 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, Vitoris is 2.8 behind, so he's broken the toe there.
Yeah.
And Green should be able to use it as Timo Scheider comes in again, and Ekstrom also.
Yep. So 2 Audis
Ekstrom's
in.
Second stop.
Onto the options.
So a different strategy. We know these options will go a long way. You can see the yellow stripe around them. And Ekstrom may be going for a very long run on them now.
Yeah, that's possible, isn't it?
Remember, we don't put any fuel into these cars in the race anymore. That stopped a couple of years ago. There is Paffett. His car seems fairly well set up over those bumps going into that first turn. I noticed some of the BMWs were really crashing over them in qualifying. On board with Spengler again.
So Spengler's charge on Jamie Green has quietened down a bit, hasn't it? Is just sitting there with so many strategies being played out as we see Augusto Farfus now into the pit lane, and both you and I celebrating Augusto last night with one of his drinks, Andrew.
Caipirinhas.
Hey, I knew you'd say it. I knew I wouldn't.
Rather potent drink that was on special offer at our hotel, complete with the wonderful cane spirit called Kashasha. Anyway, I'm sure you haven't been drinking those this week.
No. So is Farfus going to get out ahead of Glock quite comfortably? So there is, we go on board with Timo Glock then, and the green BMW in front then has just exited the pit lane with Augusto Farfus at the helm. Paffett, Vitoris, Green, Spengler, Verline, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here at the Lausitzring. Just how close they go to the wall as they dive back onto the what was the original oval. Here is our race leader, though. You could just see that the bumps that you were talking about and the tarmac there along this. It's really defined along this home straight, Andrew.
Yeah, Farfus needs to watch out. He's been given a black and white flag, non-respect of the blue flag.
Ah.
Watch for these penalties.
Just saw Bruno Spengler hard at work then as we go back on board with him, chasing down Jamie Green in P3. It's BMW we were on board with. There goes Green, there goes Spengler. So Jamie Green here, just in front of this BMW that we travel on board with.
Dave, Rocky's still the fastest man out there. For the last 3 or 4 laps, he's been the fastest man out there. Okay, he's in 9th place now. But his pace is quicker than anybody else, half a second quicker. And there is Prio getting, oh dear,
well, that did,
with Tomczyk.
Well, Tomczyk.
Prio in the wars. And Martin Tomczyk spinning.
So Prio up there in P15. This is our race leader, the Euronics livery, Gary Paffett then heading down the... Now, you were saying his lap times have dropped off a bit, haven't they, Andrew?
Oh, let's just see the replay first. Yes, indeed, they have. But the Gary got a beautiful start there.
Good start too from Felipe Albuquerque further back.
It really does funnel in there. That's one of the places. And there was Werner being, was he tapped? I think he was. You didn't really see it there. There were some phenomenal avoidances.
Yeah, there really was.
See what we can see from Verline's camera. There's Vern on your right. Verline goes through. Oh, Verline and Mortara touched, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
And maybe that sort of rebounded. Oh, that was physical.
That was Green and Vitoris.
We haven't seen that one before.
No.
An odd bit of carbon fibre bounces down the track at our camera.
Great shots, aren't they? So here is then the hard-charging Mike Rockenfeller. You were saying, Andrew, fastest man on the track at the moment, and is hounding and chasing Robert Wickens in 8th place.
He was, but now he's dropped back into the 19s again.
Okay.
And right now it's Merry and Juncadella at the fastest too. But it's now it's all very close. Everybody lapping in pretty similar times.
So a great overhead shot that we're able to bring you there of the Mercedes of Robert Wickens and the Audi of Mike Rockenfeller. And is Rocky close enough to have a dive up the inside here? Well, it's covered off by Wickens, isn't it?
Yeah, and then he trying to get the undercut there.
Oh, that is close. So we'll keep with this little battle that's going on at the moment between Rob Wickens in P8 and Mike Rockenfeller P9 as they come back out onto the original oval here, getting so close to that wall. And then back onto the infield section of the circuit.
Yeah, Wickens then in his 2nd season of the DTM, having come out of the Renault 3.5 series, which he won. But Rocky certainly keeping him honest here, this battle.
So the whole DRS wing concept on these DTM cars, the whole wing moves, Andrew, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Drops.
And we might see Rockenfeller use that to good advantage when they come back onto the tri-oval. That's where they're going to press the button. Yeah, they say it might give you 6 or 7 miles per hour. There's Ernst Moser from the Phoenix team watching on. Of course, he runs the Rockefeller car. Well, this is at the moment only the battle for 8th and 9th, but I think as things play out, it could change.
Yes, I think you're right. So as we watch them there, as you say, Andrew, it's Wickens now has turned the wick up a bit, hasn't he? Getting away, but there is our race leader who last time around had an advantage of some 2.9 seconds. So Gary Paffett, who's probably pushed those tyres as hard as you can in the early stages of the race.
Yeah, he's such a professional racer, Gary, all that experience now. And you know, he's got that almost 3-second gap, and he's just maintaining that at the moment.
There is Jamie Green then in P3. Bruno Spengler is P4. So it's Mercedes, Audi, BMW at the moment, with Pascal Wehrlein P5.
Nice shot there. Bruno Spengler, the French-Canadian. Just saw his left hand flicking. Not that much effort used in flicking that shift there, Dave, but sometimes drivers do get a little bit of pain in the muscle there because obviously they're quite tensioned up with that. And they're also hanging on and turning the wheel at the same time, whereas before, of course, you used to take one hand off the wheel to change gear.
Lock in again. Oh, and that's not a quick stop that time for Timo Glock. Also in then Joey Hand. Oh, and a problem there. Making that not a brilliant stop for Joey.
Well, they may be on a strategy of a long third section to their race.
So
as our graphic shows, everyone on the options except Farfus at the moment. And of course the first 7, Dave, run them from the beginning.
Yeah.
15 laps in now. They should go maybe 30 or 40.
So one man that's run them from the off then is our race leader, as we see him there, Gary Paffett.
Looks like we were just about to catch Hand.
Here, Roberto Meri on Tom Bay.
Tom Bay, yes, and a good move through there.
And here's Andy Prio now going to go down and place Tomczyk. You'll remember just a couple of laps ago, Prio and Tomczyk having a little bit of a coming together. Tomczyk was pirouetting around, but he's now got past Andy Prio. Marco Wittmann we can see in shot there, and the ICE logo across the bonnet. But here comes Rob Wickens and Mike Rockenfeller.
Yeah, the stewards looked at that Prio Tomczyk incident and decided no further action.
So Rob Wickens then in the orange livery of the Still logo that adorns that car. And there is Mike Rockenfeller.
Yeah, Still have been a long time sponsored Mercedes. It's the first year that they've had a fully liveried car. Of course, they make things like chainsaws, giving us lots of commentary possibilities. He's scything through the field and so on.
Yes.
BMW flags waved in that grandstand. On this humid day here in what used to be East Germany. This circuit been going for 14 years now.
So very nearly.
Juncadella just having a bit of a moment.
Yeah, he got past Edo Mortara. I thought Edo was going to get back on the undercut though, Andrew, but he wasn't quite able to do that. These fabulous camera here. That is just how close we go to the wall in these DTM cars.
And the next race at the Norris Ring, they'll be going close to the walls there as well.
Yes.
We've seen a few mirrors go flying there. A good little battle down the field here for 12th and 13th places. That was the overtaking manoeuvre.
And this is where I thought Mortara was going to get back on the undercut here. Just not quite able to do it. It's getting the traction down, isn't it, Andrew? And wasn't quite able to do that. See from on board Edo Mortara there, and it's that point there that I thought he was going to be able to make it work, but not so.
Now it's let him past, you see, Dave, because obviously he went all 4 wheels off the line.
Yes. Okay, well, we're back to it live now.
Try again.
Yeah. And by Jove, he's going to...
Yeah, just saw the wing pop down there. He's going to try and repeat the exercise. Mortara just keeping 2 wheels inside the line. Paffett's lead, 2.5 seconds over Vitoris. Green next up, but not challenging the Mercedes, and then it's Spengler, another second, 1.2 back, and then there's a big gap then to Fairline and Whitman. Just looking, scanning down the times, who's quick at the moment. Rocky, I think. No, Wickens at the moment, quickest boy out there. But Paffett just banged in a pretty quick one.
So continuing to watch that battle, we cross back to our race leader now, Gary Paffett. Some 2.5 seconds up the road from Christian Vitoris in second place. There goes Paffett. There's Vitoris. Then it'll be Jamie Green and Bruno Spengler.
Well, Rocky having a late braking effort there, closing up on Rob Wickens.
And Rob, as you were saying, he's quick, isn't he?
Still this top 7 yet to make it into the pits. So 23 seconds between Paffett and Wickens. And remember, a pit stop's going to take 20 seconds, so this is closer than it looks, actually. Will unfold in the next 45 minutes or so. 18 laps into the 52 at the moment.
There then is Jamie Green with Bruno Spengler in the BMW bank car right behind. And we go on board and see Bruno hard at work here at the Lausitzring. Taking plenty of curb in his chase down to Jamie Green. Nothing like as close as he was in the earlier stages of the race. And there the Whitman team ready themselves as Marco comes in. Options come off and standard tyres go on. And Juncadella again into this turn, Andrew.
This time he's not going to get a penalty for that. He won't have to drop back behind Mortara this time, because it was a nice clean shoot down into that turn 1. Right down the gearbox, from 6th down to 2nd. Come out against that wall.
Augusto Farfus now. Options going on to the Farfus car, Andrew.
Yeah, Farfus's second stop, I think.
It was way down the order, and well, with the options going on to the Augusto Farfus car now, comes out just in front of Hand and Glock.
Nice shot of that rear wing.
Flexes, doesn't it?
Certainly does, side to side. And Gary caught up with some traffic now.
Back marking traffic now that Paffett is going to have to deal with. There is Jamie Green then. We go back on board with Bruno Spengler to see Jamie Green in front.
The problem with this, Dave, is that they're not going that much slower.
No.
So just the way it's happened with the pit stops and so on. And Glock's lapping at 120.7, and Paffett, you know, a second quicker than that, and they can hold him up.
Yes. So Paffett will use all his years of experience.
Nice move there from Ekstrom. Goes past his old sparring partner, Timo Scheider. Down there for 18th place. Both men, multiple DTM champs as well. See it from the onboard. Ekstrom using the DRS, and down he goes.
Really accentuates those bumps, doesn't it, Andrew?
Yeah. It's got worse over the winter, I think.
Yeah.
Quite a tough winter here. And when the circuit was built, it was a multi-million facility. I've forgotten what the figure was. It was like 18 million.
So a 3.5-second stop for Pascal Wehrlein then. Where's he going to filter back in as we see Wittmann under pressure here?
Now we've just got the 4 that haven't made a pit stop. Paffett, Torres, Green and Spengler.
So Molina gets past Wittmann. That for P12. So yes, it's the top 4, isn't it, that have not been...
Yeah, and then in 5th place is Wehrlein. He's 22 seconds behind Gary, so when Gary comes back on, he's going to be very close with Wehrlein. That is something to watch for. So no question about Wehrlein having an outstanding race here. Brought into that squad when Ralf Schumacher decided very late in the day that he wasn't going to continue racing. And Pascal Wehrlein already committed to a Formula 3 season and did the first round and won at Monza and switched to the DTM.
Well, of course, it's Wickens, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Wickens.
But you're right,
yeah,
it's 22.5
Wehrlein's
exactly.
just made his stop, of course.
Yes.
Drops back, but it's still what I said, 22 seconds between
exactly
Wickens
right.
and Paffett's going to come out very close to Wickens.
So we're staying on board with Bruno Spengler here.
The question mark is how long will Gary stay out on these tyres? He can still do under the 120 mark with them.
Yeah.
And Vittoris, last lap, he was 0.6 of a second quicker than Vittoris.
Yep. So it's going to pay him to be out there as long, well, until they drop off,
absolutely.
isn't it?
But he'll know when they drop off.
Again, it goes back to the years and years and years experience that Gary has.
Yeah.
He's going to use every bit of it, isn't he?
Yeah, and this is a good battle, you know, here for Wickens and Rockenfeller. They've been tied together all race.
Yeah. Spengler's diving in, Andrew.
Yeah, Spengler comes in then. So it'd be interesting to see where he cycles back in. Spengler comes down this long pit lane. Lovely.
Brilliant stop from
shots,
these boys.
Yeah.
I spent some time actually watching that in the pit lane earlier when they were doing their practice.
Oh, look at Rocky's having a real go at the back of Wickens now as Spengler goes back.
Whoa!
Yeah. Spengler back in front of Merry
and Tombay there. So Spengler then the first of the what was the top 4 to dive in, Andrew.
So 3 remaining. Also wondering what's going to happen to the people who are on that strategy of the 2 early stops. Like Albuquerque is the leading man who has already made 2 stops. He's already a minute behind, so 2 stops equate to 40-odd seconds in the pits. For Paffett, then he's not really going to be a factor. So I think the people who made the 2 early stops pretty well discount.
Yeah.
But there are, as
Jamie Green's in now.
Yeah. Interesting to see where he comes back out. Great to have Jamie back on the pace again.
Yes.
Finally settled in with Audi. Of course, heading the next round to the Lausitzring, his favourite track. He's had all that success. It's dominated there. It's a pretty good stop from the App team.
4.6. So Jamie's going to, is going to get out in front of Spengler.
Just in front of Spengler. Now we've just got Paffett and Vitoris.
So there is the rejoining Jamie Green then. And then it is Bruno Spengler that we go on board with here. So Green and Spengler then both on the same tyres now, and those are the first two out of that top four from earlier to dive into the pits.
And Paffett is now almost 5 seconds ahead of Vitoris, who will make the stop first between those two Mercedes runners. And Vitoris it is.
And Paffett is in now.
Oh, look at, well, Rocky going close to the pit wall, but he makes it work.
So there is Gary
and
Paffett.
Paffett's in as well.
Yeah.
Now this is the key. Where's he going to come out? Off he goes, 4.3 second stop. Here he comes, and is he going to get out in front of Rocky? Yes, he does. That's good for Paffett.
So Vitoris then in between Wickens and Green. That's where he filtered back out. So
and Vitoris back out as well in fourth. So there's Paffett, but with Rockenfeller close behind him. Rockenfeller on the options, Paffett not. And of course, Rockenfeller certainly within the second where he can use the DRS on Paffett.
So that worked for Gary Paffett and worked less so for Vitoris, Andrew.
Yeah, but Gary would have liked to have been 2 seconds ahead of that yellow and green car in front of him, because that DRS has quite a lot of effect.
Well, we're now going to see, aren't we?
See what happens here with the DRS. Gary hasn't got anybody in front of him. Well, didn't seem to make much difference there.
Late breaker from Rocky, though.
So Rocky has got the advantage of the sticky tyres.
And
DRS.
Being within the 2 second margin on DRS.
Yeah.
Well, Paffett, of course, will drive like a demon, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that benefit, does he?
No, but there's still some acts to be played out yet.
Yeah.
So, we haven't been through the second stop. Wicken's just been in for his second stop.
So the order now then: Paffett, Rockenfeller, Vitoris, Green, Spengler, and it's Tombay, Juncadella, Mary, Mortara, and Wickens in for his second stop.
According to our display, Wickens is on the regular rubber now.
And right on the back of Bruno Spengler, you can see the silver Adrian Tombay car. As they, it's a great heli shot as they head out onto the main straight here. There's Spengler.
Some of the support races, we're seeing some people go straight on.
Yes.
And around the banking.
So Tombay here keeping Spengler keen. Of course, Spengler on the regular tyres, Tombay on the options, Andrew.
Yes, that's the situation at the moment. And again at the front, Paffett on the regular tyres, Rockenfeller on the options.
Well, it's interesting, Andrew. I would have thought that perhaps Rocky would be closer than this. And there you can see...
yeah, let's see what happens now. just that.
There's the wing
That
dropped.
DRS does not seem to have the sort of effect we perhaps thought it would. Just saw it flick. Just saw the
flick back
colour
up.
change, didn't you?
Yep.
Certainly pulls him closer.
Yeah.
But not enough.
No. There's Tombe on Spengler, but not able to do that.
So let's just go through the order. It's Paffett in the lead from Rockefeller, who's challenging hard. Then it's Vittoris and Green and Spengler in 5th place. Tambe in 6th from Juncadella, Mortara. Wickens in 9th place, and then Fairline. 11th place is Whitman, and it's Werner, Merry, Ekstrom, Albuquerque, Timo Scheider, Molina, Farfus, Tomczyk, Hand, Glock and Prio. That is your 22.
And we're just over half distance, Andrew. Paffett has got 4/10 over.
Well, I think for him
Rocky.
the good news is he's holding Rocky off, despite the disparity in tyre.
Yeah. So yes, Paffett on the standard tyres. Mike Rockefeller in the Audi behind is on options.
Worn options.
Indeed. And there are the two we've been talking about. There is Paffett, there's Rockefeller. Not as close going into turn one this time around, Andrew.
No, Paffett seems to have got his measure at the moment, and
Yep.
this is an outstanding drive from Gary Paffett. Nice move there from the stern car.
Yeah, Danny Juncadella.
Reigning Formula 3 FIA champion, and just switched side, didn't he? Got right in the braking zone there.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best races we've seen Juncadella drive in the DTM. Obviously all pretty new to it, and running with the Muka Motorsport squad based up in Berlin, just as we said, about an hour and a half away.
There's Robert Wickens around the middle of your screen right now. P9, then it's Pascal Wehrlein. Marco Wittmann then on the podium, of course, at Spielberg is P11.
Wickens has made the 2 stops though.
Yep.
And he is, how far off is Wickens there from Gary? Just waiting for the screen to cycle through. Still think Wickens is going to be in there with a chance for a podium when we get to the sharp end of this race, Dave.
Yeah.
23 seconds behind Paffett. And now Paffett is one of the fastest men out, actually the fastest man out there. There's Whitman making his second stop. Something of a maestro performance, I think, from Gary Paffett. Well, he knew he had a good car going in, but certainly Rocky's were at the beautiful shot there of the wing altering position. Get that long run through the final turn 3 on the tri-oval, and then all down to this very tight hairpin. The circuit's been in this configuration, I think, since 2007. Corner was a bit different before that. It wasn't quite so tight.
Yeah, they've sharpened it, haven't
Sharpened it up. Well, it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago now.
So Paffett, Rockefeller, Vittoris, and there you can see Danny Juncadella and Adrian Tombe then. It's a good showing from Tombe, Andrew.
Yeah, well, he's shown some flashes of brilliance, the young man. We've seen him in Auto GP in the past. We've seen him, obviously, last year in this Audi DTM team. Before that, we saw him in F3 Euro Series, where, has to be said, he didn't shine in Auto GP. of those many learning series that they go through. Della and Tambe, 6th and 7th at the moment. Patrick, though, maintaining that lead. Maybe just pulling out a tiny bit from Rockenfeller. Shown on the timing screens, 0.7 second at the moment. Vitoris dropping back. There's some 8 seconds between Rockenfeller and Vitoris.
And last lap round, Paffett pulled out another 10th over Mike
Rockenfeller. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th going through your screen there. There's Verline. Werner, that incredible drive up through the field at Hockenheim. Can he use DRS there? I'm sure he will. Let's see what happens. He's going to pull out the slipstream before he gets to the braking area. Verline's going to try and cover it. Look how bumpy it is going down into there. Now he goes for the inside and decides the discretion is the better part of Valor. Just doesn't get that extra speed.
No.
No, he's got the option tyre on. He's got the DRS. BMW got some other aero problem here.
Well, there's clearly something wrong, isn't there, with that package, because it's just not working. So that is...
but it worked a year ago.
Yeah, of course. Yes, of course. P10 for Verline, P11 for Werner then. So, yeah, really accentuating the difference in performance. And what we must also recognise the fact that clearly Mercedes have upped their game, haven't they?
Well, they've certainly got it right. It's only those tiny little things that you all add up to a total which suddenly transforms the car, which has not been brilliant this year. Maybe it does tend to suit this track a little bit. Different aero packages from the 3 manufacturers. Some work some places, others at different tracks.
You can see the DRS there down, can't you? Working, but not going to be able to
this time
closer.
maybe?
Yes, maybe. Dives up the inside.
And nice clean one, actually. More or less keeps it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he'll just get away with that, I think, won't he? So here's a replay of that from, there you can see, Werner dives up the inside, heavy on the brakes, clips the curb. Another great shot there. See the yellow markings on the tyres of Werner's car. Non-yellow on the Mercedes because the BMW running that option tyre.
A couple of people have got to be careful is Mortara and Rockenfeller. They've been given the black and white flag for leaving the track limits. Do that again and they could get a stop-go. Maybe it'll hamper Rocky a little bit at the moment in his pursuit here, but he's certainly keeping his championship hopes well alive, isn't he, Dave? Going into this race in 2nd place in the series.
Very much so, and
going to take some points out of Spengler.
6 tenths the gap at the moment between them. Tombe then in. So 2 stops done for Tombe. He'll be out in front of Roberto Meri.
34 of the 52 laps done. We've still got about 8 or 9 of them yet to make their 2nd stop. And 7 of those are the top 7 positions.
Yeah.
And then Werner and Verline yet to stop for a 2nd time. Tyres people are left on. What's the possibility you could run the options at the beginning and end of the race? There don't seem to be a huge advantage, do they? We just look at this Paffett-Rockenfeller battle. They're both doing the 120.2s on a different kind of rubber. Presumably any advantage that those stickies have got from their early running has left the Rockenfeller car now. But no question about Hankook, the Korean company, took over this contract a couple of years ago. Done a very good job here. Cadella went out
Yep.
in a very quick 3 seconds. As we said, Juncadella having one of his best DTM races thus far.
He filters back in behind Verline and ahead of Tombay. So Verline, Juncadella, Tombay and Merry occupying 9, 10, 11 and 12, all on the standard tyres, with Juncadella, Tombay and Merry having done 2 stops, Verline having only done 1.
Yeah, Juncadella in the top 10. He hasn't finished there yet in the first 3 races of his DTM career. 12th is best. Again, you see that bumpy nature into that first corner, and both Rockenfeller and Paffett getting their fillings rattled there as they break down into that first turn.
So 36 of the 52 laps done. Paffett leading from Mike Rockenfeller. Christian Vittoris then. We haven't really said too much about him, Andrew, but he's holding station P3, isn't he?
Yeah, doing a good job off the pole. Don't think we've had a pole to flag winner in the DTM for certainly towards middle of last season.
Just
probably gone 5 or 6 races at least without the pole sitter taking the victory. There is Paffett and Rockenfeller. First and second as they've been for the last 20 laps or so. And,
just saw through the corner of my eye, Andrew, looking down from our commentary position, which is high up in the main grandstand, one of the Deutsche Post runners.
Oh, that'd be another bit of
legging it up the pit lane. So we're keeping our eyes on the screens here from race control to see if penalties being dished out. Nothing of recent note, is there?
It's been a recent... Juncadella has been given the black and white warning flag.
So we're watching the battle at the front then between Gary Paffett in the Mercedes and Mike Rockenfeller as we switch back now.
To the Verline Tombay battle here.
Verline Merry Tombay.
Yeah, terrific little scrap that. On board with Ekstrom, and Ekstrom's got the DRS working for him. And it's a 4-way scrap that.
Yes, it is.
Ekstrom moves up a place to 13th.
Hound in there, isn't he?
Laps remaining. Puff of smoke there from red and white Mercedes.
So Eki then on the option tyres, Andrew. Seemingly able to get those to work.
Yeah, Tambay's right there as well. If either of those makes a mistake, he'll be diving through. Albuquerque been dropped by that group now.
Whilst these are all playing around, what that Merry has been able to get up the road as Eki goes through on Pascal Verline. That was a good move there. So too Tombay. So you can see the DRS wing down, can't you?
Paffett is now 26 seconds ahead of Wickens. Wickens, remember, has made both his stops. I think we could see when the final stops are done, I predict that Paffett will still be in the lead. I think Torres will be in front of Wickens. Or maybe the other way around. It's got to be close. Let's check it when it happens.
So they're in replay.
Yeah, just doing my sums again, Dave. I'm sure that now Wickens will be in front of Torres. Oh.
Well, that was earlier.
Yeah.
The Merry getting through, and Eki now is tucked up there behind Pascal Verline, and that's the replay of him getting past. Great move there. Just dived up the inside, made that gap his, didn't he?
He changed engineers this season after the man he was worked with for many years before swapped.
Spengler is in. So that's
Spengler.
Spengler's second stop done.
Where's he going to come out? Maybe Eki just hasn't gelled with his engineer yet, because, you know, he's been a double winner here. We see that the green car is going well from the same team.
So Spengler then filters out ahead of Juncadella.
Quite sure how that tube in his helmet works at the front. It's obviously a drinks tube. It seems to go in two places.
Andy Prio done 2 stops.
Well, he's in the back of the field, I'm afraid.
Having another mare of a race, unfortunately. And Paffett comes in now.
HWA boys waiting. Let's see if they can deliver a 3-second stop for him. On the marks. Best part of 12 men go to work. 3.5, that's good enough. Out he blasts on the rev limiter, and watch as it comes back on the track.
Comfortable. Well, that was timed to perfection, Andrew.
Yep. So we've got Rocky to come in yet, Vitoris to come in. And Paffett has not reused the option tyre. There was some discussion that they might reuse them, but the case.
And that's
David Green's pit stop. Coming quite square, did he?
No, it's quite an angle there.
Crew certainly able to cope with it, though. So now into the closing 10 laps or so with this 4th round of the DTM here on a humid day at the Lausitzring. Temperature just about 23 degrees. As this young man who started on pole position, Christian Vitoris, comes in, former GP2 winner, yet to win in this series. Stays on the regular rubber. There's Wickens going through. Rio goes through a lap behind.
He'll get out ahead of Green, yes.
Yep, ahead of Green. The next question is, the final question in this series, on where do they come back in? Rockenfeller, where will he come back in?
Yeah.
Tara hasn't made his second stop yet.
No.
Either.
So, on track at the moment, it's this man that's leading, though he has to make another stop. Mike Rockenfeller then.
Having an excellent season as he comes in. And here is Rocky in the Schaeffler Audi A5. There's Paffett out on track, getting his rhythm back. Did that new lap record for the DTM early on in the race. And Rocky also not completely square on. And the watch keeps going, but it was about a 4-second stop. There is Paffett, and Rockenfeller, well, about 5 or 6 lengths behind.
And Mortara.
Yep. And we've got Werner, who's yet to make his stop, but he's currently in 7th.
So then the order now is Paffett, Rockenfeller, Wickens, Vitoris, Pascal Wehrlein in. As they just brush the debris away from the front splitter, Andrew.
Yeah, it's the first teenage DTM racer, certainly the youngest ever. And there he is ahead of Martin Tomczyk. He's had a glum look on his face all weekend.
Yes. So 10 laps left to run, and the only one that's not carried out second stop is Dirk Werner.
And what is the gap between Paffett and Rockenfeller? Is Rocky within the 1.1 seconds? Maybe can drag himself closer with the DRS. It's not over yet, Dave.
Here comes Eki now on Roberto Merri. So there, right, look at that. Absolutely steams past Roberto Merri. Didn't even need to take the dive into turn one because he'd done it on the straight, Andrew.
So Paffett, Rockenfeller, Wickens, Vitoris and Green, the top 5 here.
Extra.
Then Werner still has a pit stop to carry out, and then Spengler, and then Juncadella having his best race in the DTM. Mortara and Ecky's dragged himself up from near the back into the top 10.
Yep, well, that move just a moment ago on Roberto Merri, of course. Eki on the option tyres, Merri on standard. Absolutely breezed past him down the home straight using the DRS and the extra stickiness, if you like, of the option tyre. And now it's the back-marking Andy Prio that's ahead of Matty Ekstrom. 9 laps left to run in this DTM race here at the Lausitzring. Race that's being led by Gary Paffett. Second is Mike Rockenfeller, but we're on board with Matty Ekstrom. We were just momentarily. Then it's Rob Wickens P3, Christian Vitoris P4, Jamie Green P5.
That last lap, Paffett was half a second quicker than Rockenfeller. He's going to pull himself out of the DRS zone at this rate or not. Car 9th, from 10th. Everyone completed their 2 mandatory pit stops. So a terrific run by Gary Paffett, controlled this race extremely well. He knew he had a good car under him. Remember, he led the championship for much of last season, but finally zapped just at the end by Spengler. For his 20th full championship DTM win.
On board with Matty Ekstrom then as he pounds his Abt Sportline Audi. There is Roberto Merri then.
Now the gap between Paffett and Rockenfeller's increased to 2 seconds.
So that in real terms means that Rockenfeller is not going to be able to use the DRS on Paffett, is he?
Absolutely correct, and that's what Gary obviously knew. He's got his head down for those 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah. Chasing and charging hard, Gary Paffett right at the front of the pack then.
But Wickens looking as if he's going to get another podium then. The 3rd at Brands was inherited.
Yeah.
But this one's going to be pure driving. Prio just going through our picture. Team of Scheider going slowly at the moment. But Scheider's made a 3rd pit stop.
So there is Spengler and Juncadella there. You can see in the screen also the graphics there, P6, P7. The BMW bank, you were telling me yesterday, Andrew, that they've used the white roof on his BMW.
They tend to do it when they have hot days, yes, and they make the BMW stripe down it. On board with Eki. Just been racing in the DTM these days. In the past, of course, we've seen him successful in rallying and the Race of Champions, did a little bit of NASCAR on the road courses for Red Bull, but now just concentrating on the DTM. And it's been a while since we've seen Eki right at the front. So the best day of the season so far for Mercedes-Benz, and Toto Wolff not here to see it. New team boss at Mercedes. Took over, of course, from Norbert Haug in the winter. Wolfgang Schattling in charge today, who's also head of racing communications for Mercedes-Benz, long-time man around the Mercedes pit.
We just saw Marco Wittmann there getting past Albuquerque there for P15. Go back to Spengler now, who's in P6.
Continuing story of the Paffett-Rockefeller gap.
Yep.
Now 2.6 seconds, so Gary pulling away in these closing 6 laps or so. Yeah, just remember the race here that Gary Paffett won, and then when he came to have a fuel sample taken, there was not enough fuel left in the tank, although he'd won the race, and he lost the win. Gary won here effectively 3 times before.
Whoa! Very close there.
Yeah.
Between Juncadella and Spengler, but Juncadella does go through there.
Yeah, well, what a drive from Juncadella. You know, this is by far the best result we've seen from him. And he passes the reigning champion, Bruno Spengler. And again, emphasises the performance that BMW have got out of their cars today.
There it is. Now, bear in mind they're both on the same tyres. And of course, Juncadella had the benefit of the DRS, but Spengler very nearly shutting the door on him there, and just saw him in time, didn't he?
Good move, though, by Juncadella. Dived out of his slipstream, on the brakes very late. The gap was there, and he took it. And the team enjoyed it, too. Wagging fingers up there at Mercedes.
Joey Hand gets past Albuquerque.
Yeah, not a race for Joey Hand to remember. We've seen some speed out of him in Austria.
Yeah.
And, well, this season, really, but Joey gone back to where he was at the start of last year, really, at the moment. But obviously BMW just got it wrong here.
Yes.
They have been thought maybe they'd maybe recover the situation. No. There's Eki there. Passes Mortara to move up to 8th place. Been a pretty good drive from Ekstrom, actually.
Yes.
From the lower reaches of the field. It's that Paffett-Rockefeller gap is now 4.2 seconds. Gary really enjoying this. He loved the car yesterday. He's the only man down in under the 120s.
Replay of Eki getting past Mortara there.
So quite a lot of action down and around the field, Dave, as well as the intriguing situation at the front. And Wickens and Vitoris, don't see them on screen at the moment, but they're running almost nose to tail.
Yes. Here's our race leader, though, Gary Paffett. Driven like an absolute demon. The clock is ticking now to see what the gap is now over. Well, look at that. 5.09, Andrew.
Yeah, he's just pulling away. And Wickens is passed by his teammate using the DRS, and Vitoris moves into a podium position here and passes Rob Wickens. I wonder if Wickens can replay the compliment on the next lap.
Well, and that was how it played out. On board with Vitoris there, heading down towards that tight turn 1, left-hander.
Yeah, Christian Vitoris speaks excellent English, hardly any trace of an accent. And Vitoris from pole position up to 3rd place now. Rockefeller still there in 2nd, but all the time just dropping behind. Further back from Paffett, who now has to reel off this final 3 laps.
Well, and of course, into the final stages of this race, DRS is disabled, Andrew. So it is the fight to the finish. Paffett, Rockefeller, Vitoris, Wickens, Jamie Green, the top 5.
Not really sure why that rule has been brought in to disable the DRS in the final laps. Why not have it to the end? If you're going to have it, understand at the beginning, but why not have it for the last 3 or 4 laps? There was Hand. He's still pushing.
Yes, he is.
Trying to, move up at least one place.
So he goes past Molina to move up then to P16 for Joey Hand. Well, I suppose if nothing else here at Lausitzring, he's kept all the wheels on the car, hasn't he?
Certainly has. The former outright winner of the Daytona 24 Hours. But it's Paffett. Well, just reeling in the final laps now.
The combo of Paffett and the Mercedes setup, 6.1 second advantage he has over Rockefeller as we're on board now with Matty Ekstrom. Is he going to be able to get past Bruno Spengler in the last couple of laps here?
Well, that's a possibility.
Because Ecky's on the option tyres, Spengler is on the standard, so Ecky going all out here to try and move up to P7 and push Spengler back down into P8.
Davey Green there hanging on in position 5.
So here's Ecky on Spengler then. Don't think he's going to be close. Of course, he hasn't got the benefit of being able to use the DRS. We're on to the last lap. It's going to be a last lap lunge effort from Matty Ekstrom, isn't it? Bruno will metaphorically stick his elbows out and defend as hard as he can. This is the battle for P7 that we're watching, but quite rightly, we cross back to our leader, who leads by a country mile, Andrew.
Yeah, we can see it on screen there. Yeah, just the sort of drive you expect from a man like Gary Paffett when he's got a great car under him, and he's really used that car to great effect today. And Gary Paffett going to put himself back in the championship chase. And there he goes in the Euronics car. These are new colours for 2013. Round the banking towards the checkered flag, and it's the first victory of the season as he weaves to the flag. It's Gary Paffett. Paffett for Britain wins it. Mike Rockenfeller, though, keeps his championship hopes right in there with second place. Vittorius will come home third, denying Wickens of a podium place in the closing stages. And meanwhile, look at this.
It's a drag to the line between Ekstrom and Spengler just takes it.
Just takes it. Good stuff and well spotted. So, Paffett, Rockenfeller, Vittorius, then it was Wickens and Green, Juncadella, then Spengler and Ekstrom crossing the line. Look at him shaking his head. He's probably not even sure if he got that 7th place, and those points are again important for the series.
What?
And we can hear from Eva. She's with Wolfgang Schattling.
What an incredible season, an incredible weekend here at the Lausitzring. Wolfgang, you did a podium, you did the pole position, you did the first win of Gary Paffett, the first win of Mercedes. How happy must you? You must smile from one to the other here.
Great race of Gary, an excellent performance from the first lap on. It became a little tight in the end when Rockenfeller could get close, but afterwards Gary regained it and he really showed how dominating he can be.
3 Mercedes in the top 4. What will we see at the Norrisring?
Let's celebrate this one and then we see what the next race brings, but we are happy with today's result. It couldn't go better.
Congratulations, back to you guys.
Yeah.
Steady on. Yeah, let's enjoy today first, hey Andrew?
Yeah, well, it's on the rare occasion that Wolfgang's in charge. Here's this.
Look at that.
Big nudging.
And then it was a drag race, wasn't it, down to the line?
Yeah,
this was for P7. It was played out just as the race finished, and Spengler but I'll tell you what, it was jolly close, Andrew.
It was.
Jolly close.
That banging. Oh. On that banking.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, he's not happy with it either.
No.
I think we all know what that means. It isn't I'm first.
Where's Gary Paffett then?
He can wave the number 1 in a rather different way with a different digit.
Yes, indeed. Gary Paffett, who, well, you and I, we've spent quite a bit of time with him this weekend, and he was very, very happy, very calm, cool and collected.
Yep.
And here's confirmation then of the way they finished. Gary Paffett taking the win then. Mike Rockenfeller in second place with Christian Vitoris P3. Rob Wickens in fourth place. Jamie Green, good showing from Jamie Green to take P5. Danny Juncadella P6. Bruno Spengler 7. Matty Ekstrom 8. Mortara 9. Mary 10. And then the rest of the pack there. What a great race, Andrew.
Excellent race. You know, at one stage I thought that Gary was going to come under some pressure from Rockenfeller when they finished those pit stops. Rocky was in with 2 seconds. The DRS was still operating. I thought maybe he'll be able to drag him in, but Gary had managed the tyres better, I think, and Rocky nevertheless pretty happy in his lurid crash helmet, reflecting the sponsor's colours. And there's Gary with the Union Jack on his crash helmet, and he's so pleased with that. And his 20th DTM victory. 21, I think, if you count the race at Shanghai. Not the most recent one at Shanghai, but the previous one, which didn't count towards points. There's always some discussion about that.
There's Ty Gardner in there, who's with Gary all the time, giving him a cuddle as well. That's brilliant to see.
Yeah, and Gary's off with Ty from here to go and play golf.
Playing a bit of golf, Andrew.
Yeah, for a few days, and they'll be back at the British Grand Prix in about 10 days' time.
Well, we mustn't lose sight of the fact what a great showing from Christian Vitoris as well, Andrew.
Yeah, good drive from Vitoris. He's had a third before, and even so, he was on the pole and did a good job there.
And there, Mike Rockenfeller.
There's Vitoris all over to meet with Gary and congratulate him. So, Lausitzring delivered another good race, very different racetrack for our next event at the Norris Ring, a little street circuit.
I wonder, Andrew, if Mr. Toto Wolff is going to stay away from the Norris Ring.
No, I don't think he'll be doing that. He's always been a character.
Yeah.
Rocky since first really bumped into him in professional racing when he was driving for Porsche, racing out in the American Le Mans series where he was very popular. Former Le Mans winner, not taking part in Le Mans this year. DTM is his absolute priority this year, and certainly working for him. Vitoris just rehydrating himself. All the cameras there ready. So, round 4. Here's the points like this. Rockenfeller and Spengler both on 59, Paffett on 47, Vitoris on 40, Farfus with the 33, Whitman with 32, Wickens on 27, and Dirk Werner on 22. But look at that. 59 for Rockenfeller, 59 for Spengler, and Gary Paffett there. Closed right up back to third place. He's back in the chase.
Yes.
Look at that smile, says it all.
All of a sudden he's in the hunt now, Andrew, isn't he?
So,
as said all weekend long, he had the car under him, but of course he had to drive it, and he drove it with distinction.
yeah, well, Paffett first won here in 2005. He won again in 2009. He wins in 2013 to make it 3 victories, equaling that of the other great Mercedes driver, Bernd Schneider, who had 3 wins here. And not a mark on that car.
No.
Big Mercedes flag flies. And it's an impressive facility. When you come here, it's like being in one of the big American ovals. Of course, we've got this road circuit version here. I just ponder if there'll ever be a time when they'll run on that oval again.
Very happy pit perch there for Mercedes.
So now it's, oh, there's a great shot of Gary on the bonnet of the car and punching the air. So now it's 4 races, 2 to BMW, 1 to Audi, 1 to Mercedes.
Well, as you said earlier, Andrew, you know, there was clearly something wrong in the BMW setup for this weekend, wasn't there?
Yeah, Schnitzer were not quite so far off, but the other three teams were well off. I'm sure they'll be analysing the situation. Back in Munich, Chris Dyer from ex-Ferrari Formula 1 engineer, now working with the BMW teams, all of them. He sort of heads up the engineering package. And there's Eve just getting ready for some interviews.
So a good conversation going on between Gary and Rocky. We'll be heading up to the podium in just a moment, Andrew.
So Mercedes flags flying here.
We've walked over that bridge a few times this weekend.
Certainly have.
Wobbles a bit, doesn't it? Just above the podium.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wobbly bridge. And Gary still punching the air and onto the podium. Look how happy he is. Those problems he had earlier in the year have been well put behind him now. He gets the golden bottle. Here is Mike Rockenfeller, joint leader of the championship. Just waiting here for Christian Vitoris. And so we're getting ready for the national anthem. It's going to be God Save the Queen. And Jürgen Eberhardt from HWA is up there.
Well, sends a shiver up our spine, Andrew.
Certainly does.
And sung live, it's what sets the DTM aside, doesn't it? So those
Certainly
little
does.
details like that.
So, first place, this is the State Secretary of the Interior and Sport of the Berlin area, Mr. Andreas Stakowski. And a lovely trophy there with the shape of the circuit on it. And Mr. Gerd Neumann presents the trophy to Jürgen Eberhardt from HWA. Second place trophy, Mr. Sigurd Heinze, District Administrator for the local area here. There's Dr. Ulrich. And their third place goes to Christian Vitoris, Joseph Meyer, the Managing Director of the Speedway, who's brings so many good events here. You can see the DTM here, but they have a round of the German GT Masters here as the bubbly sprays. They have...
to heck with the photograph, Andrew. They were going straight with the bubbly, weren't
yeah,
they?
they were. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And Vitoris taking a decent slug of it.
My goodness me.
Yeah, see, it's like a wet T-shirt competition almost, isn't it?
Oh, some towels.
Oh, some towels, that's wise.
And they'll try and do the photos now.
While they do that, as we look down on the circuit, yes, we saw the boss there of this track. Just look at those points again, 59-59, Rockenfeller, Spengler, and Spengler finishing the race. A very unhappy man. I wonder if he'll be having words. And Paffett third, Vitoris, Farfus, Whitman, Wickens, Werner, Ekstrom, the man that Spengler tangled with right at the end there. Joey Hand and Timo Glock is 11th. Far off the podium, unlike 2 weeks ago. But now we have Eve, and she's down there with our happy Victor.
Yeah, for sure you must be really happy, Gary Paffett. It's a 10th win for Mercedes here at the Lausitzring, your personal 3rd one. So it worked out that I bet my money on you before the race.
Yes, yeah, I mean, it was great. Yesterday was fantastic, obviously, but with the new rules, with the different tyres and with the DRS, yeah, nothing's ever finished until the end of the race. And it was really close in the middle of the race when Rocky was right behind me after my first stop. But then our speed, especially on the standard tyre, was incredible. At the end, I managed to pull away fairly easily, and just fantastic. The team really deserve this. They've been working so hard, and it's been really tough, the results we've had this year. But this is a perfect day, and the team, everybody really, really deserve this.
We call it a little bit like a rebirth of the silver arrow. So how big will be the celebration today? Because also Christian Vittori is on P3.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic for the whole team. You know, the performance of the car this weekend's been incredible. And as I say, it's been really tough, so the guys can have a real sigh of relief now. We've got a win, and we're going forwards, and it's a great, a real sort of kickstart to the season at race 4. So.
And 4 weeks holiday. All the best, and have a big celebration, Gary. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much. And nice shots here of Gary punching the air. A British victor. So now we can hear from Christian Vittori, another super 3rd place from him.
Congratulations, Christian. It's your 2nd time you're on podium. You had the pole position again, P3 like at Hockenheim. You must be incredibly satisfied.
Yeah, so and so. In Hockenheim, I was more happy about my 3rd place because we were starting pretty much at the back of the field. Well, starting here in front, you obviously want to win. But today it wasn't possible, let's say. Yeah. Gary did a fantastic job. He won the race. He's now again in front of me in the championship, which is overall good for Mercedes. We now know that the car is fast on Saturday as well, which is important for the future.
For sure, he won the race by winning the start, Gary Paffett.
Yeah, he was also pretty fast on the option tire. There he got me quite a lot, like 3-4 seconds, and then I lost the DRS, which is then costing a lot of time. So yeah, he won the race on the start. Yeah, you're right.
Don't be too disappointed. You did a fantastic and amazing job this weekend. Have a little celebration for sure. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Yeah, it did seem a bit downbeat there.
It was a bit, wasn't it?
Yes. Went into it with high hopes, his first DTM win, and he just found out how good Gary Paffett is. Yeah, looking down on the circuit again. I was going on to say that lots of different events in there. Have a big motocross event here, but let's speak to that man that's leading the championship, Mike Rockenfeller. Strong race from him.
Wow, we had an amazing race coming from P6. Now again on podium, finished P2. And I think you're again the leader of the standings. I think it's a split lead with Bruno Spengler, isn't it?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know. But it's important that I had a good race, scored some important points again. And it doesn't matter right now if you're leader, 2nd or 3rd in the championship. All it counts is at the very end. And we are far away from that. So I'm pushing from race to race. And we will see where we end up. I don't know.
I can tell you that you're the leader of the standings because you have better standings and a win and better 2 second places. So actually, just for your information, for the next race in 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's nice to know. But next race we start from 0 again, and it's really close. And every race is very difficult to manage, especially qualifying, to be always there. And yeah, we still need to improve, and we will see from race to race. There are some tracks I like, and some I think our car is not maybe the best, and we have to make the best out of it each time, and then maybe we have a chance.
You like Norrisring?
It's not my favorite track, but I try to do my best, yeah.
Okay, see you there. Congratulations. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Eve, very much. So we've had Vittori and Rocky, neither of whom are particularly delighted with where they've got Andrew.
No, and no surprise there, Rocky not liking the Norrisring. I don't think many drivers they love the event that is the Norrisring, and I'd urge any DTM fans to go there.
Yep.
But they don't love the actual track layout. It's just basically the 2 hairpins and the S bend around the back of the big stadium. So we've heard from our top 3, and this is how it all started with the perfect getaway from Gary Paffett. Wickens trying down the inside and then deciding against it. See, when at the very beginning there, Rocky down in sort of 6th and 7th places. Quickly working his way through.
was Werner going around.
He was on board with Pascal Wehrlein, baby of the DTM. Bit of a clash with Mortara. And that was a bit of a bruising conflict there as well.
Between Vitoris and Green.
Typical DTM, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're on the Americans say the main straight away.
So just sitting back and enjoying some of the highlights of that race.
Yeah, stand out, of course, Paffett. Very good drive from Juncadella. Good run up the field from Ekstrom. And BMW left scratching the head at the end of all this. So different from a year ago. We didn't have that bumping last year down to that first turn. Obviously, something's happened in the ground below. Sometimes you get this at these oval tracks where the tunnels go through. You get a rough patch. So there was Prio and Tomczyk. And the multi-world touring car champion still. His horrible season continues, unfortunately.
Rockenfeller looking lively, as he did.
Yeah, it was a good little battle there with Rob Wickens. He got the better of Rob.
And Roberta Merry on Adrian Tombe there. And Tomczyk finally getting back and managing to get past Andy Prio in a less pirouette way than he did previously.
Yep. Well, the boys will be heading off towards the press conference in the huge press room here at Lausitzring. We'll be hearing from them in a moment. I'd like to see that final nudging match right at the end with
I think we're going to see
Prio and Ekstrom.
Spengler and Ekstrom.
Spengler and Ekstrom, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to see it, I'm sure, because Spengler was far from happy about that, wasn't he? But, well, Eki was just trying to get another place. And,
but rubbing round.
There was a bit of nerfing, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was very fast round there.
And this was Eki then, and he, over the closing stages of the race, he was really on a charge, wasn't he?
He certainly was. Was overshadowed by newcomer to the team, Jamie Green. That's a good overtaking place, that down into that tight second gear corner. Can't miss those that Ice Watch colours, can you?
No.
Young Whitman's car. That point where they go so close to the wall.
Yes, that's very unforgiving, that big lump of concrete, Andrew, that encircles the oval.
Back with Ekstrom, you see, as he was working his way up through the field in the closing stages. There was a good little battle, this quartet here towards the end of the race. So now we can go to the press conference and they're already sat down and ready to talk.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the waiting's over.